Hello and welcome to Double A Crime Files. This is Amber and Arianne, and today we have a double feature. So welcome to the party. You will not be seeing Arianne's face today, but instead you will be seeing a visual from me for my cases. So let's get ready. All right. We're going to start off with the cold case of Beth Ann Paterson. Beth was divorced. She lived with her parents. She did have a son and a brother. On the night of her disappearance, the day after her disappearance, she was reported missing by her mother. She went missing on March the 27th, 1978, at the age of 28. And it was reported to be sometime early in the morning between 1:30 and 3 o'clock. So there were searches going on for her, and through various articles, I found that many people reported that there was a possible rape, and she was found by some children. Children were looking for a dog on their farm, and they found her hidden in a bush outside of their barn, and they turned it into the police. An autopsy was done by Dr. Judith LaWoite of the Erie County, New York Medical Examiner's Office, and it showed that Beth was strangled to death. It also showed that she had been hit in the head several times, but there were no fractures found in the head. And anything that was found was secondary to strangulation, so that states that she was already strangled before anything further happened to her body. When she was found looking straight up on her back with her clothes all around her in this woodpile. The captain of the police bureau, Captain Henry Williams, he noted that Beth's pants and her underwear were pulled below the knees, so this stated that there was a possible sexual assault. Then he later did confirm that she was indeed the victim of sexual abuse, but to definitively prove that, he would have to wait for the lab results to come back. He also noted that she was dead within the past 12 hours before she was found. So, looking through all the articles, I found one paper that stated that Beth did get out of her car about 1:50 that morning. She was at the Castle Inn parking lot, and the Castle Inn was a restaurant. She left the car door open, and she was gone. No one knows where she went after she was last seen at this restaurant. No one knows who took her car, anything. They just know she was there. She was in the parking lot beside her car, and then she was just gone. So during this investigation, they interviewed over 150 people, and they gave them polygraph tests. And a lot of them were confirmed to be not the suspect, but there was about 6 people that they felt could have been, but they didn't have enough information to make that stick. So they didn't really have anyone to say, yes, this was definitively the killer. The last area that Beth Ann Brown Paterson was found was visible from the road. So we had to question, was the killer aware? Did the killer care? What was going through the killer's mind? And how did they feel that it was going to be okay to leave a body where it was easily found? Did they expect to be caught? What was going on? Was this the first kill, basically? There was a lot of twigs and sticks from the crime scene that were sent for testing, but we have not gotten a word back on what was found at that crime scene. Initially, the parents, William and Beverly, offered a $5,000 reward And later on, someone donated an extra $5,000, which brought it up to $10,000. So we have no clue what happened. That is still a mystery. What happened to her while she was at this restaurant? And that's why we have a double feature, because it's really, really
So there's no
fair.
info on the 6 suspects or the 6 that they
No,
thought.
no. There's no info on who could have possibly been. There's nobody that's
Where the
seen
hell do you
her
get
with
these
anybody.
stories? Because literally, like, you can't
This
just.
is what happens. This is what happens when you research missing persons and why they've been missing since, for as long as they've been missing, or unsolved cases. They've been unsolved for this long because there's no concrete evidence, there's no concrete proof to really stick to somebody. So a lot of the cases that I find have been around for 5+ decades. And her case has been around for a while. So we're left wondering, like, we have to profile somebody in this situation. We have so many unsolved cases, and a lot of them come back to the same thing. Why? Why are there so many holes?
So was
So
she raped where she was found at?
they're assuming that because of how the crime scene looked, that she was not moved. Everything happened exactly where she was. And I just realized, guys, listening on Anchor, this is my first time being live with a serious case and not going around and being funny. And if you can see me right now, I've got strobe lights going on. So I'm trying to have a party to kind of like lighten the mood. But this is a very awkward case because you have a lady that went to a restaurant and then just vanished. And after she vanished, she winds up dead. She's dead in a farm, and she's not far from her house. The farm and the restaurant and the house are all in the same radius. I would say about a triangle. So there wasn't much else to really report on that. Like, two kids found her, they were looking for puppies, and she was just there. There was nothing around her except for
I wonder if they
her
kept the
clothes.
DNA. I
I
wonder if they.
I would hope so, because if you have something, she was 28 years old when she passed away, and this was done. Passed away. She passed away maybe 30 years ago. Um, so this was done quite a while ago. So if they had any DNA, I don't know if it would still be salvageable after 30 years, but I'm quite sure they can get something if they can, dig up artifacts and dig up mummies and stuff and test their bones. I'm sure they can do something with this DNA from this stuff. But we have not gotten any tests back about the rape. We have not gotten any tests back about the sticks and twigs. So I want to know, why does the captain feel so certain that she was raped, but has to wait on the rape kit lab test to come back? Why hasn't that been confirmed if he's positive? Why is it going back and forth? Oh, it's possible. Oh, no, she is. But we need a lab test to confirm that. Why? Clearly, something happened. Her clothes were off of her, and she was dead. And she was strangled first and then beat. So whoever did this took anger and aggression out on her after she was dead.
So
So
it
they
could have been
were
somebody that
upset.
she knew.
It seems like that because it doesn't fit an MO of a stranger. This is a very personal death. This was very, like, she was dead, but they still were not done with her. So we don't know. All we know is that she left behind a son. We don't know who she went to eat with. We have no clue. So, and you think about that. They interviewed over 150 people. Not one person could be nailed for this. And it wasn't a big city, small country town. And they interviewed over 150 people. So how can somebody get away with that for so many decades? How do you fly under the radar? How can you a murder like that to that degree and not draw attention to yourself?
Right.
Somebody didn't hear that, even though granted it was on a farm. This farm obviously had children, obviously had a family. Wasn't there enough noise being made? Wasn't there? Did she put up a fight? Was she drugged? We have no clue because they have not released any lab results, so we don't know. All we know is that we have a corpse of a dead, possibly raped woman.
I swear there's like no common sense in
No.
any of these.
And if they were, I wouldn't have anything to report on Thursdays. I wouldn't have a piss you off Thursday. So we have a double feature because of that.
It just sounds really, really odd. Like,
yeah, and it's super vague. I just don't understand how you have a dead body, interview 150 people, 6 of them stick out to you, but not one of
no
those
DNA.
people
You didn't
did it.
extract any DNA. You didn't match
Nothing.
DNA. You didn't.
And I'm wondering what happened with this lab test, with this rape kit. Could it have been someone on the force? A small country, city,
Yeah, and everybody knows everybody.
Yeah. So could it be a cover up? Was somebody pissed off because she didn't want them the way they wanted her? Or were they pissed off at another reason? Is there a conspiracy with this? Or no? Is it just a random murder? It doesn't feel like a random murder. It doesn't look like a random
And I'm
murder.
assuming they didn't interview the family to see if there was any suspicious behavior going around.
If they did, I could not find that in any of the news articles that I researched. And I researched a lot. Guys, I stayed up till 4 o'clock this morning. I've been working on this case for 3 days, and all I have is bare minimum information. So you can understand my pain and agony. Like, I just don't understand how this keeps happening to women. Most of these cases that I come across are women. I mean, I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that guys can't be raped or killed or any of that. I'm not at all saying that. It's just this always happens to women. And it seems to be that their cases are swept under the rug and not dug into as effectively as if it was a man. And I just don't understand. Is it all sexual that most of these unsolved cases are derived from? Is it the sexual tension? What's going on?
Right. It just sounds like
Brian, you are not news. Brian says hi. I'm new. This is a double feature for those who are on Anchor and can't read. You are not new. You are one of our regular favorites. And yes, this is a double feature. If
no, it's all a lie. It's not a double feature.
If you're just now tuning in, we are having a party because that's all we can really do with this first case is have a party. So to catch people up to speed that are just now listening, we have come across a woman, Beth Ann Brown Paterson, that is divorced, lived with her parents, had a child, and also I had to relive with her. She went out for the night to a restaurant at Castle Inn and vanished. And then the next morning, she was found dead in a pile of sticks, bushes, and stuff outside of a farm, not far from the restaurant and not far from her house. So there were reports that she was last seen in that restaurant parking lot beside her car. And when she went missing, the car door was wide open. We don't know how she went missing. We don't
know if she was forced out, if someone else drove her car.
We don't. We have no clue how she went missing. She was there, and then she was
not. The possibilities are endless.
Very much so. Let me see. Let me go back and show you a picture of her and her lovely son, for those that are just now tuning in. So this is her. She passed away in 1978. So, mathematician Asian Arianne. She's about like in her 40s. So, well, this is about a 40-year-old case. She was 28 at the time. So this is about a 40-year-old case. So we want to know what happened and how could this go unknown? I don't know if you caught the part, Brian, or whoever's stepped in to listen. She was basically able, her body, you were able to see it from the side of the road. So she was not hidden well. She was very much wide open. And she was found by 2 kids that were looking for puppies on their farm. So we have no clue here what's going on. We have no clue why this would have happened. Police interviewed 150 people. 6 people seemed like they could have been the person, but nobody stuck. So to me, I'm thinking that maybe it was somebody on the police force, because it was a small country city. And like Arianne and I said earlier, everybody knows everybody in small towns. So I feel like there was some kind of cover up there, because how do you just vanish and then turn up dead? Right. It makes no sense. She's a beautiful young girl. That's what she looks like. She looks very attractive. So it's very, very well possible that she could have turned someone down. But I really feel like this is a police insider, because we still have no results back from any of the testing. Police are conflicted on if it's a rape or not, but then they're like, yeah, it is a rape, but there's nothing to definitively prove that it was a rape. So they're confused on if she was raped or not, even though her pants and underwear were found below her knees. So we have no clue what happened to this beautiful young lady. We just know she vanished and ended up dead. And this is why it's Piss You Off Thursday. Because what the hell happened here? And why? Why did this happen? Things we don't know. So, Arianne, do you have any commentary?
Because there's nothing to comment. There's nothing there. What the hell am I supposed to comment on?
So,
like, she could have had a stalker. It could have been a family member. It could have been anybody. It could have been, for all we know, it could have been multiple people in one. We don't know.
How do you interview over 150 people and not get one suspect? That's a lot of people. And if you're thinking about a small country town, that's like half the population. Or, that's like everybody. So how does that happen? Weird. It's so weird. So what kind of conspiracy is this? Could it have been, and Arianne, if I could see your face right now, if everybody sees your face right now, you are about to roll your eyes at me. But
I've been rolling my eyes.
No, but you're gonna roll your eyes at me because I have to do my spin and give you a what if scenario. What if she was abducted by aliens?
There's a lot of things in this world we don't know.
There's several confirmed cases, and there's actually a lady that had stated that she had been abducted several times, and you could see the marks and everything where they're testing on her, and they actually extracted her egg and they fertilized her egg and put it back into her, and now she has a child that is half human, half alien, and that has special abilities. And that's all over the news. If you're a geek like me and you're into that type of news and not into the mainstream media, then you'll know about that case. So that could be a possibility. Could this have been a case where she was abducted and tested on and then disposed of because she just vanished out of nowhere and nobody seems to be the culprit? Or is this just crazy phenomena talk? Who knows? But I definitely would put it past it. If you can't put a finger on a human after 40 years, who knows? Who knows? But I'm not a part of MUFON, so I can't really tell you. I don't know if there was a UFO in the air that night. But let's move on to the second feature, because this case will do nothing but continuously piss you off because there's no further information but a conspiracy. So the next case that we have was picked out by dear Arianne, thanks to the push she received from her sister. It is, in fact, of a unsolved murderer. We don't know who this guy is. We just have a name dubbed by press as Bible John. How ironic. How ironic. So, who is Bible John? Well, he is a man that went around killing at least 3 women that we know of. And this happened about 1968 and 1969. And all 3 women were brunette. They were married, separated whether legally or not. They were still married. And they all liked to dance. And they were all at a dance club called the Barrowland. And we want to know what else did they have in common that made themselves so appealing to this unknown killer. And the only thing that we can pinpoint down for a fact is that he is a white male, or was white male, with dark hair, either dark brown or dark red. So these are the lovely victims. And I say lovely loosely in this case. Not that they're not beautiful, but that they were selected. So we know that the first victim was Patricia Docker. We know that she wanted to go to a dance hall, but the initial dance hall that she wanted to go to, she decided at the last minute not to go there. And that was the Majestic Ballroom. That's the one like everybody to. For some reason, she decided to go to the Barrowland because it was the secret and up.
Oh, you're breaking up, Amber. You're breaking up.
Okay, let me know. Am I still breaking up to you now?
Yeah.
Well, guys, let me exit studio and enter back in and see if that fixed my mic. And we'll get back to the secret. Dun, dun, dun. So it looks like my audio was removed. So no way, Anchor.
Like I can hear you now. Your picture's better, but you were all pixelated.
But no, it just said my audio was removed. So for the people for Anchor, you just have to catch a live stream that's uploaded to YouTube or on our Facebook to get the audio that's missed.
Because I can still hear you on this end, and I can still download the audio from this end.
No, I'm saying it's gonna get from here on out. Because I left. Anyway, so we're gonna get on to it. What is the secret 25s and up night? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the night that occurs every Thursday where men and women, married or not, can mingle and do whatever they please, and no one can say a word. This is their Vegas. What happens there stays there. So what happened was she met someone she was dancing with and she was having fun. And then she ends up going missing. She was found the next morning between 7 and 8 by somebody leaving for work. She was laying on the ground, not too far away from the club, which was also not too far away from her house. She was about 2 streets over from her parents' house. To be exact, she was strangled and she was raped. Her clothes and purse were missing, and it was noted that she was on her menstrual cycle, and that people think that that right there is something that pissed the killer off, because it is something another thing that all three of the victims had in common. They were each on their cycle. So this was weird for the townspeople to find this woman in this array. At this moment, we didn't know much about this. We just knew that this was the beginning of something serious. She was the first victim. She was found on February 23rd, 1968, in the Battlefield area. This is who we think Bible John looks like. His case is the most extensive case in Scotland that's been going on ever since the late 60s. We have no clue who he is. It's almost like not the Peter Bergman, but who was that guy I was telling you about in that case? The guy that, excuse my hamsters on their exercise wheel. The guy that hijacked the airplane and asked for the suitcase full of money and then
Oh,
jumped out with the money
you never
scattered.
stated, I don't believe.
That's because they don't even know if that guy's really exists. If it was a figment of people's imagination and they all put out the thing like what was it, the Mandela effect, or if it was a really for sure person. But this guy is almost like that. We just have like bits and pieces and fragments of things that were put together and composed. And there was like 1 or 2 people that fit the description, but never would definitively prove to be the person. So he's still sought after to this day. They're still trying to figure out who this is. And from the looks of it, of him, this sketch right here, he looks like a handsome man. But these other 2 men that they think might have been him, they don't look like him to me from the sketch. It looks like totally different people. One of them's even famous, a rock star in Scotland. So I don't see how they can confuse that. Did they look anything at all similar?
I mean, the nose and the mouth area.
Well, his mouth, he's got like a thicker lip right there and thin up there, and his is pretty consistent, just a little bit more girth right there. His are more thin. The nose, possibly, but his is more curved, if you can see right there. There's a little bit more curvature. Kind of looks like a beak, kind of like Danny DeVito when he was playing Penguin. His nose, getting from the front on, you can't really tell, but it more so resembles this nose than this guy here. Guys on Anchor, again, you're gonna have to look on our video that we upload to YouTube or that's on our Facebook so you can see what we're looking at this moment. So let's go forward. So we did know that he had a different MO than most of the killers that were going around Scotland. All of his deaths, they felt like he was judging the person, and he always quoted a scripture, which is why he was dubbed Bible John. All of his crimes, they were different order. Like they were chaotic, but they weren't as unstructured as most serial killers. If that makes sense to you, if I'm wording that in a way that you understand. Yes, no, maybe.
Do what? Repeat that.
Am I wording that in a way? I'm like his murders, they were quite extravagant, but they weren't as chaotic as a typical serial killer or as a typical murder. Like they
So they
had
were
more order to it.
organized.
Yes, they had more order to it. He
Mhm.
seemed very arrogant in his way of killing. So he
Mhm.
had more power, more stature. He was more a confident killer. Like, you deserve this. This is what's gonna happen. He didn't give off a feeling of like adrenaline, like a drug rush. It was more like he's the judge. He
Right.
sentenced you to your crime, and you're gonna fulfill that. So since he had a different type of way of killing and a way of presenting his authority, he was a true mystery, because how can you profile somebody that doesn't fit any profile that you've ever gathered of a killer? So we'll go on to his second kill. August 16th, 1969. Same kind of situation. Jemima, who was named Mima affectionately by her people that loved her, she went to the Barland as well, and she was married. She had a child. Um, I want to say she had two boys as well. I'm trying to skim over what I researched to kind of remind myself, but I don't want to take all my time reading word for word. But she was reported leaving with a man that was described to fit the description of the sketch that we have for Bible John. Um, but we really didn't know much more, other than the man was tall, slim, light hair, and he was wearing a blue suit. Someone else said that he had dark hair, but what stuck in the paper was, I guess, maybe the red in his hair. She also had been raped, beaten, and strangled. She was 31, and she was found by children, and she was in a dilapidated block, and she was only a few streets over from the nightclub. So same old thing there. All right. Here we go into his third victim, which is Helen Potter. She was 29. So all these girls were roughly the same age. They were all brunette, and they were all in relationships. So he definitely felt like these were sinners. They shouldn't have been doing what they were doing. She was out with her sister at the time. And as soon as they got to this tavern, they split up. And her sister, is it Jeannie? It's like Janine, but I think they called her Jeannie for short. Um, she went off with a man that almost fit this guy's description, but different. At the time, there was a lot of people in this club called John. So I'm thinking that all these men that went to this club used a fake name. I don't think everybody was really named John, but there were reports that everybody was named John. So I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You go to one of the three clubs that are in this town, and everybody's name is John. Bogus, completely
It's a
bogus to
very
me.
popular name.
I don't think everybody in the club will be named John. Do you know? I've been to the club 3 times in my life, and I never once saw John there, unless they lied about their name.
You're talking
I
about
don't even know what their name
Scotland
is.
here. We're talking about Scotland.
Is everybody in Scotland named John?
We're not talking about US.
Is everybody in Scotland named John? Somebody right now, Google that and comment below. Let me know if everybody, 98% of the population, named is John. I have one friend named John, and his name is Jonathan.
You may never know. Maybe they had John, Johnny, Jonathan, whatever.
I just don't believe that most of the patrons at this club were named John. I can't. I I need a Google break. Somebody's not Googling fast enough. All right, you're not on camera. Google that. I need to know what's the most popular name in Scotland before I move on, because this is gonna bother me.
Oh my
This
goodness.
case. I just don't believe that everybody in the club was John. I don't. Brian, you're great with the comments. Tell me, is everybody in Scotland named John? Because this is weird. While y'all are doing your research, I'm gonna continue to let you know. Um, Helen went outside to get a smoke while something was going on the inside. They're getting ready to close, I believe, and her John.
Michael, David, and John are the top
Freaking kidding
three.
me?
Are the top three popular names back in the 1960s, and for females, it was Lisa, Mary, and Susan.
None of our victims were Lisa, Mary, or Susan. I need to see percentage. I need to see facts on this. I need a pie chart.
There's
On how
also
many.
Olivia and Jack.
None of it. Okay, I need to see the ratio from John to, what did you say, Mark and Michael or whoever. I need to see the ratio on how many more Johns they are. Because this does not make sense. I just.
Yeah, but
So you're going to say.
the top 100 names, like John is up there. John's like in different lists. John is in the top 3 at least.
Okay, so how many clubs are in this like strip of clubbing area?
We're talking about a small area because the 1960s. So I'm pretty sure it's not heavily populated because a lot of Scotland is like not major cities like we see here.
Well, I just want to know, like, is
Wait,
everybody in every club named John?
this happened where? In Glasgow?
Yeah.
Glasgow population.
While she's looking at that, everybody was fighting and scrambling to get in the taxis. And Helen's Johns caused a scene, demanding for a manager. That does not sound like a John, that sounds like a Karen. Demanding for a manager and laying into the establishment and all the patrons. On the way out, he let the girls know that his father thought these places dens of iniquity, whatever the hell that means. I don't know what they were smoking in Scotland at the time, but I don't know what that means. Thought these places dens of iniquity. What the hell?
Seems pretty big. Seems pretty big because right now the population's over 1 million.
Shit, that is big. But so with these clubs being fairly close, this is like I would assume like the downtown area. But I still doubt that most of the patrons in here were all Johns. I'm really sure it's a fake name because it's common.
I'm pretty sure probably more than half of them were called John. But they could have been like different parts of their names. Like their legal name probably had John somewhere in there, but they were just called John. Or they
like Scott John or John Scott or Michael John or whatever.
Yeah.
John Michael. I don't know.
Like you could have gone through like many names. Like I mean, most people call me Francie.
Well, you have an unusual name.
Oh, well,
okay, she's got.
My name is long.
Her name is a freaking paragraph. Break down your name. Since we're doing names, break down your name. Because
Francie
I need to profile you.
Francie Arianne is my first name. No hyphenated, just Francie Arianne because they just wanted me to be named that. Laoso being my middle name because it's my birth mother's maiden name. Amante, which is my birth mother's married name, and then Butler, which is my adoptive dad's last name, and then / Holcomb, which is my married name.
Francie Arianne Laoso, Amante Butler Holcomb. A whole freaking paragraph. That right there, I could. You could be a killer. Nobody can pinpoint you. They can't even say your freaking name.
But you know what? Like that takes too much work for me. And like I don't like to be outside of my house. And that's the scary part. Like I get always scared like if someone has like my DNA somewhere. The one time that I go out and frame a murder on me, and it's like, oh, where were you
Oh,
at? Well, I was at home. Well, who was at home with
yeah.
you? Nobody.
I see.
I was by myself.
I agree with that. I am your favorite dreadlocked podcaster, and I'm so glad that I'm dreadlocked because before then, this girl, man, I shed it like the shaggiest dog, and I would hate with the windows being down because then my hair particles will fly out the window, and I'm like, oh shit, I just got framed for a crime scene. So
Right.
I agree. I totally agree with that. But guys, just think about that. So Arianne, I don't know if you mind me sharing, but I'm gonna share kind of. Arianne was profiled the other day, racially profiled, and that makes me think. Arianne, tell them what you were doing and how that you could have probably been.
I was literally walking my dogs at 5 o'clock in the morning. Actually, one of my dogs, my smallest one. The other two were still in their pen because my husband takes them out at 6:30. And so I hadn't gone to sleep yet. So I was like, okay, well, I'm getting sleepy. It's getting close to 5 a.m. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and walk my oldest one who sleeps with me. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and walk him, and then we're gonna go back, go into bed, and just like cuddle up and be knocked out of sleep until we wake up. And then next thing you know, like I'm literally like I don't have him since it was 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't think to put him on a leash because I was like, nobody's out here. So of course I still pick up his poop. So on my way to the trash can, which was across from my building, like I get called over by the police officer, and they supposedly said they got a call of suspicious activity where I was at. Nobody was around, nobody was getting in their cars, nobody was like, there was hardly any lights on in people's apartments. It was literally my lights, and all I had was my cell phone on me to get the flashlight so I could pick up the poop. And then they were asking for my ID and show proof that I lived here. And I'm like, dude, I'm in pajamas.
I was
Why
just
would
like,
I need to walk my dogs with an ID?
I was like, she literally had poop in her hand. So thinking about like that, people just seeing something and just claiming that it's something that it's not. She's walking a dog with poop in her hand and she got labeled as suspicious. Now, is it because she's a short Filipino and looks like a Danny DeVito potato? I don't
You know
know.
what? Shut your whole entire face.
This is what happens when you don't show your face. Anybody that's seeing us for the first time right now does not know what you look like. And right now, they're picturing Danny DeVito as a potato. Thank you. That's Arianne.
Go ahead. I got my Instagram up. Y'all can look at my pretty pictures on Instagram and on Facebook.
Her, yeah, they're pretty, but IRL, Danny DeVito potato.
I'm telling you, I only put on makeup for like the camera. Like other than that, mm-mm.
And so since she didn't put on makeup, she's not on the camera.
You
But
know,
let's go on with this case.
I don't have my bangs are pushed back. I look straight up like I have a mullet right now. Okay, we're
I'm
not
sure
gonna talk
people
about
wouldn't
that.
care. Pretty sure people are not clicking
Um,
on this to see what you
I
look like.
care. I care, and that's all that matters is that I care.
I'm glad you care because, some people don't like me. I could give a shit what I look like. And that's could be bad because I probably look like shit right now. But I don't care. So anyway, after Helen's John made all this big commotion and said this phrase that makes literally no sense to me, that his father thought these places dens of inequity or whatever, iniquity, whatever. I feel like it's not correct grammar for me. I feel like there's something missing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't. Okay, we're just gonna move on to the next because I have no clue. I have no clue. So they thought that it was fitting to give this killer the Christian name of John. And I just thought, how the hell does that make sense? I
And
mean,
you know
he's
what?
killing.
Their prime suspect, his name is actually not John.
Exactly.
It's nowhere
He's
near
like,
John.
that's the rock star, I believe. I forgot what his name was. But I believe that's the rock star that they really, really thought was the killer. And I'm sitting here like, this is freaking ironic. This man is going around killing these women because he feels like they're sinners, and he feels like he has authority to tell them what they're sinning about. And because he does not like what they're doing with their life, he's going to take their life. Then everybody thinks that he was pissed off because when he was doing his crime, he found out that each woman were on their cycle. And everybody thought that, he wanted to get something from them. But I'm not seeing it that way. I'm not seeing it that way at all, because the way that he was talking doesn't seem like he was after sex. It seemed like he was very much so pissed off that these women were like being over sexualizing themselves, and they were married. But I don't think he understood that these women, even though yes, technically they're married, that they were separated. But either way it goes, it was just not his business what they were doing at this secret 25 up night. Because that's why it's secret. You can't go off killing people. You're in here. Why are you here? It's a
Right.
secret, And so why did it matter? We don't know why it mattered, but we do know that each woman was beaten and raped. Or I really, I really don't know. This one was weird to me. I was like researching and researching. I'm like, why? Why? So we found out that he, after doing a interview with a taxi guy, that he got that this John got mad at him because he took the wrong turn, and he felt like that John was trying to get in an altercation with Helen, because there was a lot of frustration going on. He had already caused the scene. There was a lot of tensions going up. So now he's in macho mode, and he's being his authoritative person. And that's the last person that really saw them, was his cab driver. But what I don't understand is, how can this cab driver not ID him? Cab driver wasn't drinking. Helen was drinking. Helen was smoking. They were doing that. But this cab driver, how could he not describe who this was? So they thought this guy was the notorious Scottish rapist and serial killer Peter Tobin. But that didn't seem to really fit, because it seemed like his killing started much after that, and they didn't feel like he would start and then stop and then go back. But I say, why not? That is totally not uncommon.
It's really not.
Actually, that's like the prime. Serial killers have a long cooling off period. The one that you were talking about the other day, that was like the weirdest. It was like so quick together that I was like, that seems like that didn't fit the. That guy did
It's
not fit
less
in
than
the
a month.
period.
It was less than a month
Yeah,
for the murders.
he totally did not fit the MO, and that's why it's like we have to profile him differently, because the way he's doing it was different. So I don't understand why they think that it couldn't have been this guy because of the co-op period. It totally can be.
And the thing
He
is
could have.
that the so-called cool-off period happened when he first got married. First got married towards the
Exactly.
end of 1969, and that's when he also moved. And that's when
Exactly.
the murder stopped.
So you think about those when, if you read into the case, and guys, you would have to actually do more. I had to condense it because there was actually so much, and this is what pissed me off about this case. There was so much information on this case, more than any of the other cases I've ever researched. There was so much information, but nobody knows who the hell this guy is. Oh my, what the? How do you have this much?
Oh,
You
and
can
here's the bad
literally get
part.
this person.
They won't take Tobin's DNA. He's still alive, but they still got the DNA from the three murders in this case.
See what I'm saying? Like this is what you call complete and utter bullshit. Now, how can this happen? How do we go from a case,
So
the first case, to this? How does it happen?
So here's the thing too. They found a DNA in a little crime scene that happened back in let me find it, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Tobin was arrested in 2006. So there was a minor like crime that happened in 2004. There's not really anything that's stated other than it was just a minor crime scene
It was
that
like
matched
publicized.
the three murders here.
So what? Why would they think that it couldn't have been what it was? Because usually killers they take time off for, like you said, marriages or maybe childbirth, and they're getting wiped up into the moment, and then that the honeymoon stage of that goes away, and then they go back into they need something, so they go back into killing. So I don't understand why they felt like that. It didn't make sense that Toby definitely could have done it. I think he was the one that right here. I won't want to say that was this is Tobin
They
that they
also
were
said,
accusing.
guys, that Tobin
You're right, frequented.
basically did went to the club a lot that these ladies
Yeah,
were
but then
taken from.
again, 98% of the club was named John. So
Well, I mean,
everybody was there.
you may never know. And he was Roman Catholic. He was known to be high, um, very religious into his Roman Catholic, and he
So
actually
why was
worked
he
into
there?
the church.
So okay, why was he there?
It could
Make
make
that make
sense.
sense.
Here's the thing: it could make sense that he was trying to so-called fix these women.
That is the thing that a lot of serial killers have in their head. They do think that they're saviors, and they do blame a lot of their murders on religion. But this just does not make sense. Like the way he was acting, maybe he has a split personality. So I don't know because he like on one hand he's very arrogant, very controlling, very
Well, I mean, all of Tobin's wife also stated that he was very controlling in their marriage and often raped and beat them as well.
see, and and that's why I'm like I don't think we can really say that it's not him. But
He's
why?
very
What
high
made
on the
them?
list.
Yeah, I mean, and I just what? Why would they not? Okay,
And
what
he's
could be
still
done?
alive, by the way, guys.
What could be done for us to definitively prove that it's Toby? What can be done? Like we have all this information, mountains and mountains and mountains of information. We have a sketch. I mean, out of the two people, this sketch looks more like the middle guy than this guy to me. But we're not even 100% sure how true this sketch is because you're talking to people that were in a nightclub and were drinking and smoking and doing drugs. And I mean this is like the late 60s going into the 70s, so you can
He was
guarantee there's
also,
LSD and there's marijuana and stuff going around, and so you can
if it was
guarantee that people are not in the
Tobin,
right mind.
he would have been in his 20s when the first set of murders happened.
And that makes a lot of sense, and these women were roughly about the same age, within a few years of each other. They're in the same age group. Now look at them. All three of these are different women. Look how similar they look. Not just with the dark hair, but like the face. Now she looks the most different, but they still look very similar. So could it have been that a woman that looks just like this woman did something to him and pushed him over the edge, so he targeted this particular these particular women. Do we have a picture of Tobin's wife? Does she look anything like this?
I could look.
Like, what I want to know, like, what? I mean, they can damn near be triplets, you know, almost. I mean, they have a few differences, but definitely they look related. So definitely there's something there.
Peter, there's one that actually is dark haired. One is blonde haired. They actually do like all I see are like kind of older pictures, but I could kind of see them kind of looking like that.
So
And especially his victims, like they would have been the modern day version of that. If you get what I'm saying.
Do you have a picture of her pulled up?
No, I just closed it out.
I was gonna say share your screen. Let me see.
I don't know if that's his first wife, his second wife, but she did have dark hair. The other one had blonde hair, and I don't know like if she dyed it or you know what.
So,
But then again, like I don't know
are you talking about this
when.
lady?
Yeah.
Oh, this ad. The one, this blonde hair. This is the second wife.
And who's the dark haired one?
Um,
Is that his first wife or third wife? He had 3 wives, if I remember correctly.
actually, this is both of his wives. His first and his third wife. But if you look, how do I make this where we can see? At
Like I
control
said,
scroll.
they would look roughly around like that.
That is not doing it for me. Y'all, my techiness is out of whack today. Anyway, I'm trying to make it. It's not coming. If you can see, she almost, I believe this is the third wife, and that's the first one. She does,
She
this
resembles
wife here
if
does
you look.
favor them.
Yeah, yeah.
Very much so.
And like I said, I don't know if the blonde
Yeah,
hair
she does.
is like original hair color or what. She could have dyed it because a lot of like older ladies dye their hair blonde.
And the blonde was, she's 58, and then the dark hair, 39. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
So, so the guy that we think possibly could have done it, he actually had been known to he was killed about 48 women, and that's very high. Typically, serial killers don't have that high of a killing. That's more like a mass killing type of number. Typically, serial killers are usually under 10, typically. But it's really not uncommon to have that high of a number. It's just not
There's just not a
very,
lot of them.
yeah, it's not very typical, but it's not your typical serial killer, but it's not uncommon, if that makes sense. So we still have no clue, but this is the guy that we really think, I really believe, I feel like it's Peter.
There's too many similarities. Like I said,
Yeah.
he got married at the end of when the killings really stopped because once he got married, he moved.
Yeah.
So
Let's
that's
see,
when
have
the killings
children.
stopped. And then he frequented the club. He was often there. He was a Roman Catholic. Now, mind you, it does not state if he was Roman Catholic during that time or if he converted and became very religious later on in life. So I really couldn't find that information because I was looking up on him and and when I seen that, I was like, wait, because I mean,
And you think about this. So this happened in the late. It happened 1968, 1969. Guys, Peter is 73 years old today. So it's in, even though it seems like it's not that long ago. I mean, even though it seems like it's long ago, it's really not that long ago.
He's still
If you think
alive.
about that, yeah.
He's still alive in prison.
So his first wife was Kathy Wilson. He was married to her from 1989 to 1993. He married Sylvia Jeffries 19. Oh, that's his last wife. I'm doing that so backwards, guys. I suck at reading. His third wife was Kathy. His second wife was Sylvia Jeffries. They were married from 1973 to 1976, and his first wife was Margaret Monte, and they got married in 1969 to 1971. He
And
also
all
went
three
by,
women claim that he beat them and raped
yeah.
them.
Um, so he's very famous in Scotland for being a sex offender. And he's currently in Edinburgh. Edinburgh. So, and he's the youngest of 7 children, and he does have 2 children. He's got a son named Ian and a son named Daniel. And let's see. This is Ian. How close does he look to that sketch?
No.
You don't think?
No.
Okay. No. And then here's let me see. We have a Twitter image, another one. I don't even know. Like, does that look like the same person?
No.
So, and then let's see. And then we have his other one was Daniel. Ooh, interesting. Very interesting. And why they call him evil? Yeah, that's Daniel with the third wife. That
The smile
looks like this sketch right here. The lips.
Yeah. If he
The
was
lips are
skinnier.
definitely. Now the nose, definitely they don't have the same nose, but maybe even the eyebrows could possibly, like, I mean, it's a possibility. It's a possibility.
I mean, that was just the police's number one
Yeah.
man, but they still couldn't fully definitively like pin it on him.
Not at all. They can't. Yeah, they still, and we can't really say for a fact. We just think with all the evidence, it just seems more like him than anybody else that they chose. It just definitely seemed like him. But we're not investigators. We're just reporters. This is just our talk show. So, as we know right now, this venue is still active and running today and still very famous, even after there was a fire in there. It's very well preserved. So, if you're ever in Scotland, go to the Barland and make you some haunted memories and let us know all about it. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, don't come up missing. We're not investigators, so come up missing. We're not gonna look for you unless you come across our list as
Unless we come
missing
across
or
y'all on
murder.
Google.
We're not gonna investigate you. But if you do go to Scotland and you do visit this place, do send us pictures of the inside of how it looks now, not photoshopped. We want to see all of that. But we definitely will not be in Scotland anytime soon. So, guys, I hope you like the visual. Since this is my first time presenting to you, I wanted to do more than just stare at you and have you look at my awkwardness. I wanted to give you a visual of what I typically would look at. I would typically have a Word document or my famous green notebook, which is here, my famous green notebook with all my notes in there and pictures sitting up. And usually it's Arianne and I that would look at stuff like that, and then you'll see it later. So it was nice to be able to give you a visual with this, and hopefully this is something that's well received. Well received. If you like the visual with the podcast, let me know. This is your show. You run it. I'll keep it up. I make all this myself, everything. So please tip your favorite podcaster? Me.
She zoomed in really quickly.
Me. Your favorite dreaded podcaster? I would show you Arianne, but she's being chicken shit right now and won't show her face. So
Yep.
can we just get an eyeball?
Nope.
Can the viewers get something? Can they get your couch? Can they get Urza? Can we
Urza
see
is
a dog?
Urza is asleep.
See, viewers, I try to give you what you want. You got your nice cinnamon cocoa
Y'all will see us on Sunday.
over
Y'all see us.
here.
Make sure to tune in again, guys, on Sunday for Sunday Fun Day. We don't know what's going on just yet.
I have an idea. I invited some friends of mine to join us for Sunday. Brian, if you're still listening, you gonna join us? You gonna join us? He said his voice isn't for free, so guys, you're gonna have to come up with something to pay Brian to jump in. But I have an idea. I'll talk to Arianne off camera to see if it's something that she's down with. Y'all know me; I'm the crazy one out of the group. I'm down for anything. I mean, my motto growing up was I'll do anything at least once. But I'm married, so I gotta kind of back up off that motto. I'll do some of everything at least once. But yeah, I have an idea. So Sunday Fun Day should be fun if Arianne lets me run it.
Oh my gosh. I'm scared.
Arianne, it's not gonna be bad.
I'm scared. Save me.
It's not gonna be
Anybody.
bad. Who would think that I would have a bad thing on Sunday? Who thinks that? Me?
It better not be a bad thing because it's church day.
Me?
Yes.
Me?
Yep.
Out of us two? Put something bad out? Me?
Yep.
Possibly. But no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do this either this time. But I think I'm kind of cool in my brain, not outside, but inside, in here. I don't care if you can see me. I'm pointing at my skull.
Anybody
My
still
brain
understand what she's saying? Because I don't.
I have an idea, and I think it's pretty cool. I think that my mind thinks in a cool way, and I think that our viewers or listeners would like what I have in mind. Do you want to know? You want a teaser?
Maybe.
You want a teaser? Well, you're not getting one. Not on camera. Off camera. All right, guys. I'm going to quit pulling strings and keeping you on longer than you need to be. Just make sure that you do like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube. And please like and share our Facebook, everything that you see. Please join us on all of our social medias, which are located pinned in our Facebook page and also on our website. And we have 2 videos up now of how to navigate the website. But guess what, guys? It probably won't matter because I'm never satisfied and I keep changing it. So you're just going to have to wing it just like me. Because, I'm sweet like that. So I'm going to end this right here. And for anybody just now tuning in, just rewind. Maybe my audio didn't get cut out. But if it did, who knows? It was a good
If not,
first
you can
20
download
minutes.
it from mine because mine's still live, even when you left.
Cool, hopefully. So, with that being said, and mine be the only cocoa cinnamon brown face you get to see the smooth buttercream. Arianne doesn't want to show you her buttercream skin,
Nope.
but I'm just gonna end it and say double A signing out.